Hello and welcome to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. My name is Elyse and I'm one of the design team members. Today we are going to make a card doing some Eclipse die cut technique and selective coloring. Here is a look at the card that we are going to make. Hope this gives you a good sneak peek, and let's get into it. So I've got the A Crafter's Heart stamp set. I've got the hugs from the Marshmallow Alpha and that scallop from the 4-bar die. Just trying to lay out how I'm going to make this work. Using some VersaFine ONYX black ink to stamp that big heart down onto some Bristol smooth paper because I'm going to be using some water-based markers, and I find that Bristol paper is the best for blending with water-based markers. Just going to go ahead and get a really good impression with my Misty. Love that tool. Now you can see I've got that scallop frame from the 4-bar die set, and it is just going to leave a little bit of corners because of the heart shape. And so I am just going to go ahead and fill those in. There's a lot of these little sequin images, and so I'm just going around and stamping those to kind of fill out the space. Bringing over that die to see where we need to add a little bit more and just even it out and make it look less like it's a heart shape, basically. It's a great way to think about how to modify different stamp sets that you have to make them work. Now I am going to use those alphabet dies. I've got the hugs. And I am using my grid mat to line these up so that they are straight. And then I will use one big piece of purple tape. This is the wider width, and adhere these all together. This is such a good tip when you're using alphabet dies to make sure everything is lined up straight and you can get everything cut in one pass from your die cutting machine. Well, so long as your word, you have all of the letters that you need in one pass. Sometimes, especially with vowels, you need to reuse. I'm going to then use that grid mat again to make sure that these are lined up center. Run that through my die cut machine. And then you can see I have got the words and the negative. So the positive and the negative of the die cut. So I am just going to go ahead and do some basic coloring here with these Tombow dual brush pens. I've really grown to love these a lot. And I am just kind of modified rainbow because I only have 4 letters here. So I'm going to be doing pink and then an orange yellow combo, a teal combo, and a purple combo. I'm just adding some pink shading to the bottom of the images that I'm going to color. I'm just following along with this stamp. So this stamp is really great because it has so many all of the things that we use for crafting in it, basically. So foam tape roll and paint brushes and paint tubes and punches that kind of remind me of those really big Martha Stewart punches you used to buy at like Michael's. So that's really fun. Some scissors, things like that, rulers, pencils. So I'm just going in and coloring in those. In person, you can really see the die cut word. It's a little harder to see in photos, but because everything is popped up, it's really easy to see. So I'm just going in and coloring. There are times when I wonder if I'm coloring in the correct lines because I have such a small amount of that image. So what I do is just bring over the larger die cut, put in the letter, and then make sure that I'm coloring the right thing. So just going through, really funny. Sometimes this happens with the Tombow markers. I found that the cap does not always indicate the actual color. And so I just picked out 2 random caps and started coloring. And it turns out I was using the lighter shade, even though the cap was darker. Sometimes that happens. I don't really understand. But here you can see where I'm just marking some colorings of where I need to be sure to color in. So just going through, this is nothing fancy and not a ton of shading or work because it's just 2 colors. And these water pens are really forgiving. If you struggle with coloring and making sure ink blending is correct with, like Copic markers or alcohol-based markers, sometimes try a water marker and this Bristol smooth paper. You might find it easier to blend. So just going ahead with that last color, that purple, and coloring in these images. I have used this stamp set so many times. I really love it. I think it's a classic that, you know, you would obviously have in your collection for a long time. So long as you are crafting and have crafty friends to send a note to, this is definitely something that you need. By the way, all of the products that I'm using are linked in the description box down below. So if you want to see anything up close, go down into the description box and you'll find the links. Okay, so now that all of the coloring is done, from that 4-bar die set, I have a really hard time saying that, I have got the little frame image, which I'm just gluing together using both, using some Gina K dot runner. And I'm going to glue this onto a stitch panel that also comes in that 4-bar set, and just using some turquoise cardstock. I feel like a lot of the times with Trinity cards, I'm always using turquoise cardstock because the company's logo is in turquoise, and so that's just what I think about, and it's also my favorite color. So if I can use it, I will use it. So just going ahead and getting this centered. I think it's so great. This 4-bar die set just comes with so many of the basics you would need to make a smaller card size. And sometimes I find it just so much easier to make a smaller card size. It's just a lot less involved. I'm going to be using some little foam strips to pop up these letters and make it a more obvious Eclipse card. So basically an Eclipse card is just when you die cut usually like a sentiment or a shape out of a stamped image and then inlay that back on. It's a really fun technique if you've never tried it. I had a fun time doing this and I highly suggest trying it. So just going to add on that foam tape. I just had a little tiny bit that I knew would be perfect for the little G. So just adding in that foam tape, and then I'll go ahead and pop up these letters. These little foam strips are great because you don't have to cut up a larger strip of foam tape, which sometimes I find really annoying. And if I just want to get something done, having these is great. So you can see I'm just going to line this up exactly where it is placed from where I die cut. So now I'm going to get all of these lined back up. And you can see in the video, it's a little hard to read the sentiment, but I promise in person, this really stands out. Just making sure everything is lined up perfectly. And then I'm going to move on. I'm going to score the card base. So flat, this is 7 by 4 and 7/8, and you're going to score at 3.5 to make a top folding card, or you could even make this side folding. Just going to go ahead and use that same dot runner and adhere on that front panel. And I ended up using a light gray marker to color around those images on the letters to make this stand out just a little bit more. I then wanted to make this card more special by stamping a sentiment on the inside of the card. So this says, "For my crafty friend." It's from that same A Crafter's Heart stamp set. I thought this was a perfect little sentiment, and it still leaves me plenty of room for my grading. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed watching this. If you want to see more from the Trinity team, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the bell so you get a notification every time we upload a video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.